I tend to see connections more than not to, I don't want to downgrade humans. We're pretty fantastic. And we do have attributes that I think other things don't. This consciousness is pretty incredible. But maybe it's because I am a scientist, but I'm looking for unifying themes because that's what's interesting to me. What are the underlying principles that run these things? And we don't have a lot of underlying principles when it comes to biology, because biology is always so specific. You can't just like say, predator-prey relationships are always going to be like this, and they're the same whether you're talking about a stink bug and the little mites that it eats. I don't know if stink bugs eat mites, but versus a lion and hyenas. No, those two predator-prey relationships are going to be a little bit different in a lot of ways that are hard to predict. So we don't have these rules in biology, which makes me say, well, what are the rules in biology? And really, what it comes down to, there's probably other things too, but fulfilling the second law of thermodynamics is one of our driving rules for biological systems. And I think it's fun to look at us in that way, even to look at consciousness in that way, because what we're good at is creating entropy. And entropy is a word that often confuses people. It's easy to think of entropy as disorder. Like a messy desk has more entropy than a clean desk. Well, if it took you, 3 years of working on that desk to pile up all the papers all around, you sure put a lot of heat out into the world while you were doing that. So your messy desk is actually there. It is, well, okay, sorry, I should go the other way. Your clean desk, if you took a long time cleaning your desk, you put out a lot of heat, and that's actually a potentially higher entropy state, even though there's more disorder, more order on your desk. That's sort of not, that is entropy, but like entropic production is really, I think of it mostly as heat. It's really about the quality of energy. It's about the relationship between energy and temperature. And so heat is something that is a major form of it. Basically, like says, entropy is the quality of energy in that when energy becomes less useful to do work, it has higher entropy. And so for whatever reason, and I don't know why, we have to just make more of it. That's just what the universe has demanded, is that we're just going to make more and more entropy. And so our organized societies and our big brains and all of our predilections and preferences for the stuff we find on TikTok are all little eddies in this big river of entropic production. And so the more complexity that we create in our society allows further and further production of entropy. And the chimpanzees are the way they are because they're good at creating entropy in their own way. And so they forage in the forest and they create opportunities for moving seeds around and stuff. So everybody sort of has their role to play, but it's all moving somewhere and it's all progressing, which I find nice. I will tell you one thing that I think on a probably daily basis is how connected we all are. I don't separate out humans from nature. Like that just drives me crazy when people say humans versus nature. And I'm like, wow, we are nature. This is us. And knowing what I do, in my research, I take DNA sequences from things that do not look like each other at all, and I line them up against each other. So I know for sure that we are all related. Everything living is related on this earth, and it's actually pretty nice. I mean, I have a chapter. I wrote a book called Intraterrestrials, which came out this spring, and I have a chapter where the title of the chapter is something that I accidentally wrote once, and I wrote humans and other plants because I was talking about it was like for something that I was writing for like a newspaper or something, and I was like, okay, well these microbes that I'm studying are different than humans and other plants, and like saying it like that implies that humans are plants, right? But for me, knowing about the phylogenies, like how separate things are on the tree of life, humans and plants are actually very close together compared to a lot of the organisms that we're studying. So I I do. I lump the humans and the plants and the jellyfish all in the same branch.